Hi there traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris and this video is taking a look at the pound dollar after a pretty interesting drop there, 150 pips due to the Brexit news. Two cabinet ministers resigned in this Brexit process. We'll also of course take a look at the euro dollar. Alright, so let's start with that pound dollar then. We'll take a look at the daily chart. You can see that yesterday had an upside but ended up on a bearish note with some wick at the bottom, so a little bit of a mixture here regarding the daily candle. Definitely had that bullish momentum riding up, and we were warning about that based on this daily candle already. And we saw inside candle and continuation after that. And it came close to reaching that 134 kind of zone that we had in mind as a first stopping spot. Price also respecting the 21 EMA zone, by the way. That is typical for price to stay in that zone or be around that zone. If it's breaking away from that zone, that's indicating momentum, that's indicating a breakout. So price is back into it. Now for the moment, it could be a bit of a resistance spot, because if you look at the past, you can see that pretty much price was below it for a very lengthy period of time, indicating a wave 3. So this could be still a wave 4, although I think that personally that this is probably the wave 4 and this was a wave 5, and that price is now going to make a bigger correction for a wave 2, and here's a wave 1, and down we go for a wave 3. But it's also possible that price could be in a wave 4 and it still makes one more lower low for a wave 5. So I think some downside is likely, whether this is a wave 5 or whether this is a pullback for wave 2. Some downside I think is going to happen. Now the question is, how is it going to move lower? We had that resignation news yesterday from two prominent Brexit ministers basically stepping down. That caused the pound dollar to spike to the downside, some 150 pips. And it looks like, from my perspective, that an ABC correction was already completed before that news came. So it seems like, you know, the ABC completed, the news came, and then we had the reaction that to the downside, but the ABC was already completed. As you can see, A, B, C. And if we put a fib from here to here, like this, you can see they went up to these fib targets very nicely. And I think that we're going to see a new ABC. That's the main question. Are we going to see ABC back down? And then again, a new leg or swing to the upside? Or is there going to be a downtrend? So if it's an ABC, then we'll put a fib from this bounce at the weekly R1 to the move back down to the weekly pivot point, right? And we'll be expecting price to, yes, indeed, stop around this 50 fib, maybe 61.8 fib, and then turn back down to the minus 272 target or the minus 61.8 target, which are both potential bouncing spots for the bigger correction to the upside. However, if price really is in a downtrend, we would expect price to move down a lot lower and a lot faster. So more momentum, and price should break below this bottom and should break below the weekly R2. So depending on how much momentum we see here, it could either be the ABC like I expect, or you know, we're in a 1, 2, 3, and we would expect the 3 to go, you know, a lot deeper, and then a 4, and then a 5, perhaps something like that. For the moment, I think an ABC is more likely, and I think that in both cases, price should not break above this top. Otherwise, you know, the bigger bearish potential is out of the window. But for the moment, I think just a simple ABC and an up is the most likely for the pound dollar. So let's keep an eye on that. We'll have a new update 2 days from now. But I don't think that price will escape the 21 EMA that much before we see it turn back down, and a re-break below the 21 EMA probably could kind of confirm that push lower, in fact. Any break above this top would invalidate that ABC, and we might see a bigger correction immediately. In that case, this was ABC. We had a dip and pullback right here, and we might see a new ABC to the upside. All right, but I don't think that is particularly likely at this point. Let's take a look at the euro dollar. It moved to the downside as well, followed the pound dollar, but only slightly. So from the euro dollar perspective, the bearishness looks more like a correction. Let's take a look at the hourly chart, and you can see that the chart pattern to me looks choppy and a little bit like a wave 4 correction perhaps. Choppy and corrective, not much pace in that particular move. So I think it could still be a wave 4 if we look at the hourly chart perhaps better and like take a look where that wave 4 could be, because this looks like an A, this looks like a B, and this could go up for a C. Within C, it looks like a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we put a fib on this wave, potential wave 3, I think that anything, if it stays above the weekly pivot point, the 61, the 50, the 38.2 fib, anywhere around 116.90, 117.25, as long as it stays above that zone, I think it's very likely to be a wave 4, and we could see price move up for one more wave 5. The breakout confirmation would be a break above this trend line or the break above our green diamonds here for the ECS fractals, for instance, like this. That would, I think, confirm a breakout for that wave 5. Or, of course, if we see bullish candlestick patterns as it perhaps retraces deeper and we see candlestick patterns in here, that could also, of course, indicate a potential turn, as long as it stays above the 61.85. If it breaks below that, then in that case, I would probably be leaning towards the fact that a correction has been completed. This is probably a completed swing, corrective swing, and if we break it below the 21 EMA, below the 61.85 and below the weekly pivot point, it probably seems like we're building a bearish swing to the downside. So let's take this away. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Then the question is, if I, what I expect personally is for price to move to the upside, as already indicated. I think that seems likely. Be careful though if price closes with a daily candle below 117.20, for instance. That too could be a warning sign that more upside is not expected. Because yesterday we did have a little bit of a wick. All right, yesterday, look. So if we close back into the 21 EMA, that would be a bit of a warning sign. We have HMA up, and I think we still have space to retest 118.50, the previous top. But generally speaking, we are in a resistance zone. So if it were to close below this support, then I think we have to be careful, because in that case, we could see more downside. So if we see a break below this fib, the 61.8 fib on the hourly chart and the weekly pivot point, or if we see a daily candle close below roughly 117.20, I would be careful with the upside. Otherwise, I think that there's a good chance that prices are going to make that upside and continue up to the R1 and up to the 118.50 level. All right, so a little bit of space there. Not a lot of space, but a little bit of space to that target zone. Now, once it gets up to that target zone, if it gets there, right, that's a pretty hefty resistance zone. There are two scenarios. I already said it a couple of times, but just in case. It could be A, B, C within a bigger wave 4, and down it goes for a wave 5 to 114.50. All right? Or price already completed wave 5 here. This is a correction first part of the correction, right? Then we go down for a second part, probably in 3 waves. And then we go up for the third part of a bigger kind of wave A, and wave B. So let me do that again. This could either be A, B, C for wave 4, down we go for wave 5. Or wave 5 is completed, and up we go for a W, X, Y. All right, correction. And that would be part of a bigger wave 1. Sorry about that. Here we go, wave 1, 2. And down we go for, A, B, excuse me. And down we go for C. All right. So basically, A is already completed. We're looking for a B, and down we go for a C. Within that wave B, we're looking at an expanded W, X, Y correction. Here was the first part. Here we go for a second, and up we go for a third part. All right. Now the question is the W finished or not? And in my view, probably not. I expect W to be at a higher spot. But if it fails to move higher, that would not be surprising, because it's already at more or less the target. It is already at the resistance zone. So whether it makes those few more pips up is the question. And if it breaks below and closes below 117.20, then not. And I'm talking about a daily candle. If it breaks, if it moves lower intraday, hits 117, that moves up, all within today, and it closes somewhere at 117.40 today, for instance, then I think that tomorrow is likely to be bullish up to 118.50. All right. If it closes below 117.20, or if it breaks through the weekly pivot point, then what I'm expecting is price to break. I would like to see a pullback, maybe to this level, like a head and shoulders, and I would expect a follow through to the downside, and I would, in that case, be bearish. All right, traders, I was happy to be here with you. Hope that you liked this video, and if you want more free analysis, just check out our website, elitecurrency.com, and wish you all, above all, good trading. Cheers.